Chipmunks, welcome to the AMP Cycling Ride Review Series. I'm your host, Angry Chipmunk, and today we'll be going local and taking a look at the Caves route in Western Australia. This route is available on Rouvy, so let's get right into it. This is a moderate length route at only 26 kilometers long and quite flat with only about 211 meters of elevation gain. It averages just 1% for the entire route and will see a peak gradient of 7%. There is one Strava segment on this ride, which is the Hamlin Bay segment. It's just over 5 kilometers long with 85 meters of elevation gain and averages just 1.6%. The segment starts around the 1.5 kilometer mark, and almost immediately you will see that peak of 7% of the ride. It's only a very short part of the climb, and after about 500 meters it flattens considerably. The rest of the segment will only see a peak of about 4.5%. By the end of the hill, almost half the elevation has been completed with the rest spread sporadically throughout the ride. The gradients stay pretty mellow, peaking around that 4 to 5% mark. For the most part, it's quite flat and easy riding. And despite the fact that this route is so flat, you'll actually be wanting a fairly decent warm-up. The start is moderately uphill, but the hill segment does come quite early on in the piece, so give it a bit more than you would think, maybe 10 minutes or so. This is also a great route for pushing pretty hard, so if that's your goal, be sure to warm up well. The end is pretty flat, so you can use it to partially cool down if you've not pushed too hard. And as always, I suggest pre-fueling with plenty of protein to help sustain your energy levels. As this is a pretty easygoing ride, you may not need to refuel at all during the ride itself, but if you haven't pre-fueled, about 10 grams around the midway point or so is a good idea. And if you're going to push this one, definitely pre-fuel so that you don't need to waste time eating during the ride. A post-ride protein would depend on your energy expenditures, but a magnesium supplement is always helpful. Now the view on this ride is pretty great. It's mostly on an enclosed tree-lined roads. It's a really good example of the kind of scenery that you get in Australia. Now there's no sound, but you can almost hear the cicadas in the background on this one. The sun shining through the trees is a very familiar sight to me, and I found that this ride was very peaceful. I went at a pretty moderate pace and completed the ride in about 48 minutes on 100% difficulty emulation. With the longer warm-up needed for this one, I would say budget anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half depending on how fast you are or how hard you want to push. If you're quick, it can be a suitable route for time restrictions. Overall, this was a great route that I really enjoyed. I would definitely recommend this one for all levels of rider. The climb is very easy and the rest of the hills are all very moderate. It's not overly long either, so it can be a good way to push your distance goals if you're newer. This can be a great ride to sandwich around big ride or big climbs when you want something to keep your legs moving, but that is also not too difficult. For this route, I would give a 5 out of 5. It's pretty great for such a simple ride. For the climb, half a point out of 5. It's a very easy climb that any rider can do. It's the most difficult part of the ride, so once you're past that, it's smooth sailing. For the view, 5 out of 5. I really enjoy this one, even though I see this kind of view all the time. It's a very classic bush landscape. The minimal traffic and tree canopy give this one a great immersive feel. And overall, 5 out of 5. Definitely put this one in your ride queue. I think all levels of rider can enjoy it. Well, that's it for this review, so thanks for watching, Chipmunks, and please let me know what you think of the Caves route when you've completed it. I'll leave you to finish the rest of the ride, and I'll see you next week for another review. Until then, ride on, Chipmunks, ride on.
roads.